So I'm delighted to be with Jack Jiggens. Loud and clear. You can hear me, Jack, on your side?
I can hear you loud and clear. Thanks, Brendan.
Brilliant. So Jack, from EXP Property Investments, is going to be chairing the panel, focus on development strategies. Now, one of the panelists, Jack knows extremely well, is co-founder of EXP Property Investments, Ben Richards, also founder of Aura Architecture. Jack, in case people don't know about Ben or EXP Property Investments, a little bit about EXP Property Investments and your development strategies. And just before you go into that, just to remind the listeners out there, the other panelists include Sam Loney, Julian Weverall. We've also got Daryl Norkett from Lendwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those are some of the key people particular evening. So as I said, Sam, and brand new to my events also is Jazz from Kent Property Meet Jazz Dockley as well. So Jack, go ahead. EXP Property Investments Development Strategies. What are they for 2020? Are they going to be different from previous years?
Good question. They're not going to be too different. They're going to be more of the same, but a lot better executed, hopefully, learning from last year.
Jack, when you say, oh, sorry, I will try not to interrupt you too much, but when you say better executed, what does that mean? Is it in time frame? Is it literally, is it time, or is there more to it when better executed?
I think year on year, you should be learning from what you're up to previous year. In 2019, we actually wasted most of our time with funding. So we're actually working quite heavily on better funding lines. We've been messed around by a couple of banks who've just been very, very slow. Not necessarily like private lenders, just literally banks, whether that's short-term, long-term banks. They seem to hold the purse strings, which held us up a bit. So we're trying to reallocate that time, get better funding lines so that we can spend more time executing deals and buying deals and delivering deals. So it's actually better use of our time more than execution. But our strategies of this year, it's like I said, a bit much of the same. Ben and I, we tend to blend what we're doing across multiple what you could call strategies. Ben's got a very good eye for planning.
So for the listeners out there, Ben Richard comes from a architectural engineering background. I heard him say it, Angela, an architectural engineer is somewhere between an architect and an engineer. Is that what he said, Jack, or have I phrased that slightly wrongly?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. You could argue that some architects don't know how to deal with the structure and is something deliverable, and vice versa with engineers, they don't know how to design it. So Ben sort of can wear both hats pretty well. So Ben's got a good handle on planning. I'm still basically the guy that goes out and finds the projects, and between us we deliver them. Some we sell on with planning, and some we deliver. Included in all of that spectrum of projects, we have our multiple strategies, which could be commercial, residential, or land developments, and that's not specifically commercial conversions or residential conversions or refurbs or flips. We pretty much would look at anything if it works.
And one of the most interesting deals you did was, I know you presented it at Angela's most recent, is part residential, part commercial as well. I can't remember the exact location.
Yeah, so we've got a project, I think you're referring to our project in Spencer's Wood, which is a part industrial, part office, part residential. We've got planning for 13 units, which is 7 apartments and 6 offices. And we're hopefully breaking ground on that next month. So that was a planning uplift, which we're now delivering as a development. But I also mentioned at that event last week, we bought a police station, got planning for that, and we're now in legals just to sell that with the planning to a builder. So yeah, a range of projects, and I think it's important to have a range of strategies and a range of when you exit. to complement a growing business. Basically, you need those cash funds in to go and get more planning and more sites. One
Jack,
thing that normally, yeah, go ahead.
the police station. So some people may say, why didn't you buy to hold? Is there a reason?
I'm not a policeman.
Jeez. No, but the
No, we believe that with smaller schemes, there is an individual out there that can build it out for cheaper than you can. Therefore, they would accept a slightly smaller profit margin. Well, it's actually the same profit margin, but build costs slightly lower. So when we build out a site, we take on a main contractor, a JCT contract, so that our time isn't focused on buying a scheme, delivering it, buying a scheme, delivering it. Purely because I believe that it's extremely difficult to get the right deal flow, and you end up sitting with something on the market and not being able to do anything for, sometimes months, sometimes half a year. So we like to vary what we do, so our deal flow is consistent throughout the year, which does involve selling sites on with a small planning uplift, or even just spotting an opportunity and selling it on in that essence. But that's the main reason we're selling in the police station, because it's 3 dwellings and an office. We've already pre-sold the office part, and we know that there's a builder out there that's local that could probably build those houses out for about 140 a square foot. If we build it out, including all the professional fees and site managed it, we wouldn't even come close to that figure. And the reason that those builders can get it slightly cheaper pound per square foot rate is because they've probably got 2 or 3 projects that they're doing for clients, and they can use materials that are over ordered, or they can use trades on that site when they're not particularly needed, or there's a lag and there's an overlap on other sites, also known as a hospital job. But for us, it's more, we would make a similar profit if we exited with planning than if we did taking the risk on building it out and selling it. So it's sometimes assessing risk, time, and return, and not always building everything out.
Jack, I made one note, and I promised it would be 5 to 10 minutes max. So in my notes, it says lending. I tried to write the word Brexit. So it comes up as Brexit, but it should be Brexit. So you mentioned about last year, 2019, funding. So
yeah,
in terms of funding, 2020, do you think it's, and I know you didn't even mention the word Brexit, it's me who's mentioned the word Brexit, but do you think it's going to be completely changing very slowly when you said banks were delaying somewhat?
I think the attitude's going to. No, I think the. So what happened in 2019? There was no closure on anything. So there wasn't a decision, or there wasn't any direction. There wasn't anyone leading a decision. So I believe the confidence was dropped because there was no closure. Now that we have a plan, and we are obviously exiting, I even think there's been a slight boost in confidence already, and banks tend to get a bit more nervous before others. So we've been finding where banks are holding the purse strings, and from a developer's perspective, it's no skin off their nose if they say, yep, we like the project, we'll lend you at these rates, this amount, we like it, let's move to valuation. 2 months later, you've had a valuation, you've had a report, which is, whether it's high, low, down val. I hear a lot on down vals, but down vals haven't actually impacted our business so much. It's more the attitude of the banks and taking forever just to deal with it and lend you the money. So we've had down valuations that have come back and warranted the exact loan to values that we need, and the banks have been very jittery and slow in lending that. And obviously we're at cost and time at our end, but the banks haven't really forked out too much other than their due diligence, and we've paid for the valuation. So that's the main setback we've had. And I think that this year, hopefully the confidence is going to come back in as transactions start to build up. As soon as buyers' confidence comes back in, i.e. the end users, the product you're selling, the bank's confidence will increase because they've got an exit then. So it's I hate using this phrase, but it's a bit of circle of life. As long as everyone starts buying and getting more confident, it helps everything, and you start to build more momentum in the economy.
Jack, one very final question. Apart from coming along on Thursday evening, which people can find out more about, beaconevents.com/events, I think it is. How can people find out more about EXP Property Investments?
You could obviously come along on Thursday. I'm co-hosting with you on the 7th of March, the Commercial Development Summit, Brendan. You could also contact us on our website, exppropertyinvestments.com, or just send me a message on Facebook. We're pretty active on Facebook, and you can contact either Ben and I and have a look at the projects we're doing. There's probably quite a lot of content that you can start sort of reading up on and looking on from our social media. But we're more than happy to give anyone the time of day to share what we're up to.
And just to give a plug to Ben, Ben is from Aura Architecture as well, who are sponsors of the National Development Summit 2020, monthly sponsors of my property events taking place in London. So Jack, massive thanks for taking time out tonight and taking time out on Thursday. So I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to seeing the fantastic panel. Never seen some of them before in my panel, so it's a fresh new panel. So massive thanks for taking time out. Thank you.
I better get working on my questions.
Thank you.
And do come along, because we need some Q&A as well from the audience.
Thanks, Jack. Bye for the moment.
Thanks, Brendan. Cheers.